Hey everybody, second video of the day. Unbelievable. So I did a video and I think all of you actually should go and watch it. And what it is I talk about how the game is rigged. The title of the video that I'm referring to is they get to do what they told you not to do, virus or not. And in that video, what I do is I highlight how you remember as the rioting, more so the protests, had broke out, and it almost seemed like the virus was not even a thing anymore. Certainly among the people that were advocating lockdowns previously, they were able to go back on virtually every single thing that they had said. Everything. They got to go back on everything that they said. And they not only approved and justified the green, or most of they greenlit all of the protests that were happening all across the country. People being bunched up by the hundreds to thousands. Again, after having lectured you for 2 months and some 2 months and some change, really, about how if you went out, you were going to kill your grandmother and stuff like that, or kill people's grandmother, or you were selfish and all of this other nonsense. And then they got to do exactly what they told you not to do because it was a cause that they felt was justified. They even got health officials to greenlight everything that happened, saying that, yes, this is what they should be doing. This is okay because of the cause, right? As if the virus stops being a virus when it's like it goes around, like you get a protest zone, right? And then the virus just comes up to the protest zone and it says, oh, can't go there because people are protesting. We know that's not how viruses work, but that's what they said. Okay. And as the, dare I say, protests, which are still happening, but just not to the degree that they were happening initially, they start to slow down, and now the virus is back in the conversation again, which to me is bizarre. I called it, but it's bizarre in the sense that they get to do that and be so blatantly inconsistent. Lectured everybody about the virus and whatnot. Went then greenlit all of these protests where people are bunched up together. Then went back to the initial position where we need lockdowns and so forth. Insane. And what have the Republicans, your beloved liberty-loving small government, right? Limited government, despite having this evidence, do as usual on the defense. They are useless, man. Useless. They're absolutely useless. Democrats for years have controlled the entire narrative, and all Republicans really do is sit up there and be on the defense all the time. At best, they slow them down, but nonetheless, they're not ever on the attack. And I woke up to this. Governor Greg Abbott, which is, I'm in Texas, this is where I'm at. Greg Abbott today issued an executive order limiting certain businesses and services as part of the state's effort to contain the spread of Modelo virus. This decision comes as the number of people testing positive and the number of hospitalizations have increased. The positivity rate in Texas increased above 10%, which the governor previously stated would lead to further preventative action. Basically, what they're saying is, though it's not foolproof, everybody's been looking at this, what percentage of the test, that they're doing is becoming positive over the course of, let's say, week to week or something like that, day to day. And that's what they're using to say that it's spreading and so forth. Is like if they're doing all of these tests and the percentage is going up as far as who's testing positive. The targeted measure directive, in the executive order are based on links between certain types of businesses and services and the recent rise of positive cases throughout the state. The order includes the following: all bars and similar establishments that receive more than 51% of their gross receipts from the sale of alcoholic beverages are required to close at 12 p.m. today. So they're shutting down the bars and similar bar type establishments again. These businesses may remain open for delivery and takeout, including for alcoholic beverages, as authorized by the Texas Alcoholic Beverage Commission. So again, we're back to square one. Bars are being shut down. Restaurants may maintain open for dine-in service, but at a capacity to not exceed 50% of total listed indoor occupancy. Beginning Monday, June 29th, 2020. Rafting and tubing, because I guess the virus spreads throughout the water or something like that. Businesses must be closed, so I guess you can't snorkel and so forth. Outdoor gatherings of 100 or more people must be approved by local governments, with certain exceptions. So the bars, I guess, are being linked to the issue, right? As far as what's going down. Yes, you probably have seen by now all of the articles that have been pointing out how, for some reason, the mass protests that happened all around the world had absolutely nothing to do with the rise in these cases and so forth. Oh man, these useless jack wagons. But this is my thing. I've been looking at the numbers. I've still been looking at the numbers. This is my first video on the virus in a while because we have been talking about Last of Us. We have been talking about the rioting and Black Lives Matter and all other stuff. And here we are back again. Looks like we're going to be doing a series of these deals because the state has decided that, okay, well, people are getting the virus, which was never, ever assumed wouldn't be the case. But people are getting the virus now again. And because they're getting the virus, as our testing is ramped up, well, we have to shut things down again. Here we go again. And it's so bizarre because who in the world ever assumed that nobody would get the virus, man? Nobody ever assumed that. Nobody ever assumed that nobody would get the virus. And same thing that we've been talking about for months when it comes to hospitalizations and the death rates. It's the same thing where the vast majority of the people that are dying from this and being hospitalized, like per 100,000 or something like that, as far as proportion to their population, are the older people. That's still the fact of the matter. It's the older people. And then you have outliers and people with that are immunocompromised, has certain diseases that would make them more likely to struggle with this. But it's still the same. The vast majority of the people that are getting this virus are going to be absolutely fine. That's just what the facts show. And I know people get so upset at that. We've shown, I'm not even going to waste my time in this video because I've done 50 videos going through the statistics and so forth. That's just what the fact of the matter. I know good news pisses y'all off, but the fact of the matter is that the vast majority of the people that get this virus are going to be fine. Certainly in my age demographic. That's just what it shows. Definitely the healthy folks. They get it. Most people don't even know they have it. They have very mild symptoms. I finally know a guy that I was near, actually, that ended up having catching it. Same thing. Very, very, very mild symptoms as far as when he caught it. He's about 2 years older than I am. And it's the same thing. That's just how the vast majority of people are going to work. There are going to be people that die. But we never assume that. And what we're talking about when it comes to viruses isn't necessarily a new thing. When we look at the fact that people may get it, be fine. Other people may get it and have to struggle with it. That's not anything new. Viruses are not new things, right? Now, this one is maybe a novel, right? Modelo virus. May be more contagious, more infectious. But the whole one size fits all when it comes to demographics has highlighted the utter failure when it comes to policy surrounding this. That has been the mistake. And even when I was calling it 3 months ago, when I saw the early data that was out, and I'm looking at it like, well, it looks like there's the very, very old people are like, they're going to struggle with this. But why would you treat everybody? You waste resources trying to force people into lockdown that are among the healthy. You derail businesses. You put people out of work. Healthy population of people that should be able to assume, free to assume the risk that they want to assume. And instead of dedicating the resource, this is why I said when I talk about the Governor Cuomo or any of these jackwagons who go around trying to lecture people about so-and-so, and then they have all of these breakouts throughout these nursing homes, right? That stuff like that. And this is why when people try to blame me when I'm an advocate of, all right, let people be free to assume whatever risk, right? That it's not new. If you go out, you know your risk may be getting sick. That's not anything new. That happened prior to the Modelo virus, believe it or not. But you had all of these people that would lecture me talking about I was, deaths would be on my hand. I disagree. I say the deaths on your hands when it comes to all these old folk dying in these nursing homes, because if people were actually using those resources and if they were to build a policy protecting the people that were most likely to be vulnerable, people in nursing homes. You're housing a bunch of people that are of that age group. And instead of dedicating most resources there, you're trying to put a blanket on everybody, as if we all are impacted by the virus by age demographic, as an example, health status, as if we're all impacted the same way. When by every statistical metric, we're not. This is not a virus that impacts every single person of every age the same way. That's not my opinion, man. That's what the data says. The vast majority of people that are dying from this are of X age. The people that are being hospitalized, people that have like health issues and so forth. Why wouldn't you build a policy, or more so direct resources to protecting the most vulnerable, not treating us all as if we're the same and forcing us all into quarantine, or forcing certain businesses that have healthy working population into hiding, into closing, derailing your economy in the same regards. That makes more sense, because that's just what the statistics show, because the statistics, do not show that we're all impacted the same way. And I know there's a lot of people that were all in on doom and gloom, and that's what they want. But people are going to die from this, guys. I mean, this is what it is. People are going to get sick. It's a virus. It's a pandemic. That's what's going to happen. It was never to be assumed that nobody would get it ever. It's going to be bumpy, But to just try to force everybody into hiding is absolute nonsense. And these useless Republicans give in to these weirdos. Give in to these weirdos, man. And shut things down because they're on their tails. Like, oh, look at this. We're having a rise. People are dying and yada, yada. It's like, okay. Are we supposed to go right back into hiding again? And the people always talk about, we got to slow it down. We got to, if we were doing what we needed to do, we wouldn't still be doing. There's no indication that that's a virus, you dickhead. We'd be right back at square one if we reopened when we had brought it to, because this virus isn't going to just go away. So we'd be back in square one. This is just something that we're going to have to deal with. Be as cautious as you like. Wear your mask if that's what makes you comfortable. But man, here we go. Again, about to ramp back up with some more lockdowns because for whatever reason, people think that it was assumed that folks would never get this and get sick from it. Man, come on. And it's like, what makes it probably the most craziest thing about it is the survival rate of this when it comes to the vast, like people in my age group who are virtually they're more likely to die, like kind of like Johnny Anitas from Stanford University was talking about. People under a certain age, like in my age demographic, more likely to die from driving home from work than they are from this virus. Yet, You treat me like you treat the 90-year-old man. And it's an indefinite amount of time that they expect that this silliness is supposed to go on. Well, until we get effective treatment, until we get a vaccine. That may or may not ever come. Nobody thinks any of that stuff through. It may come, it may not come. I'm not sure what the puppy dog's doing there. He's rolling on his back like a weirdo. You can see a shadow. Look, man. Looks like we're about to ramp it up again. Here we go with another series of virus videos. Protests out, virus in, back in.